What is GWARNIN, bitches? I consider myself a pretty nice guy, and everyone deserves a break around the holiday season. But I've got to say, online predators don't. Who am I talking about? Bungie. Again. Just think about how sad that statement really is I just made. The beloved creators of Halo and Destiny, now seen as online predators. But it's true. Let me just recap all the bullshit for you. The game was shit and boring after like level 300 when it first came out. The Crucible was a disaster and far too balanced. MMORPG aspects of the game were removed while leaving the Eververse in place. They throttled our XP to make us buy more bright engrams with real money. The response to this was lackluster and it wasn't fixed. They just doubled the XP we needed. Then the DLC came out and it was shorter in length than a trip down a supermarket. The new content was basic and repetitive. I mean, to prove this, does anyone even remember the DLC dropping? I don't. Content was locked behind the DLC paywall that shouldn't have been, meaning that you couldn't get a full completion of the game without the DLC. Terrible. Bungie's response was again lackluster and the usual line of we hear you rang out. They've doubled the amount of items available through the Eververse gambling system since the DLC. This included some items from Destiny 1 that we had already collected in the previous game, but we were told we're not able to have them because Destiny 2 was a new experience. Yeah, we were lied to. Due to all of these predatory practices, the free of coins was investigated by the players, and surprise surprise, it was discovered that it wasn't working as it should. But yet again, Bungie responded in a lackluster fashion, providing no real remedy. I think by this point players were getting wise to the usual pattern of Bungie making a mistake on purpose, players realising, Bungie apologising in a half-assed fashion, rinse and repeat. Roll on motherfucking Santa and the Dawning event. Christmas is a time of giving, not taking, Bungie. And yeah, I said Christmas, fuck all you politically correct motherfuckers. This could have been the event that redeemed Bungie. I mean, who the fuck does their PR? They need to be strung up for sure. Bungie, are you listening? This shit is so obvious to me, it's why I posed the question, is someone trying to sabotage Bungie? Basically, the Dawning event is yet another cash grab brought to you by the geniuses at Bungie. Normal bright engrams earned during the special event will not get you the special items available. You only get a certain amount per account, and to get more, you guessed it, you gotta pay for them. Without paying for them, it is impossible to unlock all the new available items. As a side note, it's now been worked out you would need to spend an extra $600 on top of the game and DLC price to unlock everything in the Eververse. And again, that's approximate due to the duplicates, so it could be more. Well, players have had enough now, and as I said in my previous video, the revolution has begun. Viva la revolution. The official forums are still jam-packed with anti-Eververse posts calling for the death of Tess Everest. You know, I'm sure she can just leave the tower under armed escort chaps, or get locked up. She's just doing her job after all, we don't have to crucify her. Well, the fire is rising, and the community is united against the corrupt practices of Bungie for the first time since their controversial practices started to get exposed. And Bungie has responded, yet again, in a very half-assed fashion. They have said they're going on their Christmas break, and they'll deal with everything when they get back in January. Well, the event ends in January, so will they be extending the event? What will happen? They are yet again leaving players in the lurch, and the community has responded instantly. Now, Christopher Barrett, the game director of Bungie, took it upon himself to tweet about this due to the uproar, and he touched on all the topics. However, as usual, when talking about the Eververse, it was the normal, we hear you, we're working on it, Bungie response. I mean, to me, this is a PR death blow. The forums are on fire still now, and I found a post from someone that appears to be one of the rebellion commanders. I'm going to read it in full, as I think it sums up the community's feelings perfectly. It's titled, Bungie's Response to the Eververse Issue. Inadequate. We appreciate the announced quality of life changes coming from the faction rally. They're cool. Really they are. However, it doesn't address the issue at hand in any way. Imagine that you're a parent, your child comes to you, he's been in some horrific accident, is covered in scrapes and cuts, and worst of all his hand has been cut off and he's gushing blood. He's carrying his bloody severed hand in, the one he still has. Well, Bungie's response to this situation seems to have been to grab a wet washcloth and start dabbing at the cuts and scrapes, while giving words of comfort at how it's going to be okay, they'll fix everything, and then pointing to the kid's hacked off hand and promising to do something about it later on. Maybe. I take pride on being a voice advocating balance and reason on this board. That was my stance. It is my stance. But make no bones about it. I know as well as anyone that when Bungie dropped this version of the Dawning in our lap, it was a vicious slap in the face. Made doubly so that it was associated with Christmas. Whether your Christmas celebration centres on Santa Claus and gift giving, warmth and togetherness with family and friends, or the coming of the Prince of Peace. This is an insult. Bungie stepped far, far out of line, and I'm delighted that their actions resulted in an explosion. They deserve nothing less. And so we had this response. It states that they're aware of our concerns and will discuss the issue, nothing more. Nothing about how they're going to try and make things right, nothing about increasing the number of Dawning engrams in play, nothing about extending the Dawning or making its loots available after it ends, nothing about removing Eververse or even curtailing it or removing it from its central position, nothing about limiting Eververse to direct purchases only instead of this RNG mess, Nothing about making reparation to those who've already been hoodwinked into spending more than the cost of the season pass on dawning engrams. Really, Bungie? I said I was a voice for balance and restraint. I am. I hope to remain so. But after this initial slap in the face and their typically vague response, I feel that's something not even I can ignore. And I hope that the players will continue to show their dissatisfaction, dispassionately and diplomatically, if Bungie will listen, and with displays like we've seen recently if they won't. I prefer the sun to the wind, but sometimes you need the wind to blow a few houses down. Bungie, do yourself and the rest of us a favour. Address the issue at hand. We're your kid, we're missing a hand and standing in a pool of blood. Concentrate on tending to this serious injury, then you can start sponging scrapes and bloody noses. Well said, sir, I must say. Bungie is literally killing Destiny 2. And themselves. I honestly can't see why either. It seems to be like purposeful sabotage of some sort. The community is never going to accept a loot box based game. You only have your core fans left, Bungie, due to your other mistakes. They don't like the game to start with, and they will not stick around for a loot box fueled shooter. To fix this, you must take drastic action. Destiny 2 is not the only thing on the line now, it's also you, Bungie. The Eververse is a tumour, and I know it can't simply be removed overnight, but think about this. Why not change it into a direct pay for item marketplace for select rare gear? Keep the prices low, honour the micro in microtransaction, keep the bright engram RNG solely for end game progression, but exclude any of the items in the marketplace. Also, forget about basing events around the Eververse. It is just a shockingly bad PR move, especially with what's going on in the industry right now. The future of your company, not just your game, is on the line, Bungie. Surprise the world and do something phenomenal. Imagine the crazy PR you would get from limiting your own financial gain for the benefit of the player. Over to you, Bungie. That's all from me, bitches. Make sure you like, comment and subscribe down below, and do me a favour and share this on your social media so other people can see it. Thanks a lot. Peace out.